Australia just found a new record-breaking insect.
Look how big it is!
Before I show him to
Look
you,
at it!
how the f do we keep finding new bugs?
Yeah, for
You see,
real.
Australia is...
Listen, y'all gotta stop looking for shit like brand new stuff. Just be ignorant, you know? It's better to be ignorant if you live here, I feel like. Yo, what's up, honkers? You all really seem to like me reacting to more Parz. So here's more Parz. More Parz. I don't know, man. Anyway, this video's secret word is stick. Comment the secret word down below and I will give it a heart. All right, let's get right into some more horrors beyond my comprehension.
This is Australia's most common snake, and that's quite a problem, because it's also one of the world's deadliest.
Okay.
Introducing the eastern brown snake, native to quite
brown
literally
snake.
every
Of course.
state in the land
Of
down
course.
under. And
Of course,
unluckily
it's in
for us,
fucking
this
Australia.
arsehole has earned himself a silver medal in the Note Rope Olympics Venom category.
No,
coming
bro.
in second place for the most venomous snake in the world. It is worth noting first place
are also in Australia.
unsurprisingly also both held by Australian snakes. Because God hates us. However, unlike first and third, the toxic middle child here is a far larger problem. Because
Okay.
putting it lightly,
Why?
he's a cunt.
Oh, got it. Understood.
The eastern brown is one of the most territorial species of snake in the world, which is a scientific way of saying they operate on the US home defense philosophy. If you dare put a pinky toe onto this guy's property, he will bite your ass, injecting you with a hemotoxin that can send you to heaven via blood clot in under 30 minutes if left untreated.
Oh, that's fucked. Oh!
But hey, stay off his property and he'll leave you alone. Right? Yeah,
Right.
One problem. His property is your property.
Oh my god. How the hell did he get in the house?
That's right. The eastern brown doesn't live out in the middle of nowhere like his slightly more deadly cousin. This fucker is so at home in the suburbs, he drives a f***ing Prius.
Are you kidding me?
You can find this burnt piece of spaghetti literally anywhere. Go to put your shoes on, he's turned them into a 2-bedroom home.
What the hell?
Hop in the car to go to work. Yeah, unfortunately, that's his car now. Get to work.
That right there. Like, I'm already not like the most aware person of my surroundings. I have almost like 2 times stepped on a cottonmouth snake in Texas. If you don't know what a cottonmouth is, it's essentially a water moccasin, one of the most venomous snakes in the US. And I don't want to deal with that. I have family in Australia. They're like, you should visit Sydney. I was like, no.
Work on the job site. What do you know? He f***ing works here too. Try to take a shower after a long day at work. F*** off. He's moisturizing.
It's in the shower.
You can't even take a shit in the comfort of your own home without running the risk of the dunny being occupied.
Oh my god.
In fact, these bastards are so omnipresent that out of the 200 species of snake in the country,
really? That's a lot of snakes.
ginormous asshole makes up 60% of snake bites.
Oh my god. What an asshole.
Kangaroos can and will beat you up.
Yeah, obviously.
That's right, just because
they're
it's
just
not venomous
deers
doesn't
with
mean
like
it can't knock
2
you on
legs.
your ass. And Australia's most iconic marsupial can do just that. Because they are way bigger than you think they are.
Yeah, they're
With our
massive.
biggest species of roo coming in at a ridiculous 2.8 meters in length.
Bro, my favorite video is the guy that like punches the kangaroo for fucking choking out his dog. But because apparently they are like menaces to society, bro. They will fuck up your car. It's like having a deer just randomly run into your house. Like, just, man.
And with the iconic hop, they've got a vertical jump of 3 meters. I mean, honestly, with a stat spread like that, they don't belong in the outback, they belong on a fucking NBA court. As if that wasn't enough, they're also built like tanks, weighing in at a full 90 kilos of roid-raging rabbit muscle, and being able to move way faster than anything that heavy has any right to, pegging the speedo at a max of 70k an hour. Meaning if you make them angry, a juiced up rat the size of a small car is going to run your ass down and beat the f***ing brakes off you. And I'm not kidding when I say they really will rock your shit. Kangaroos are professional kickboxers, with males routinely fighting MMA to win female attention. When they fight, kangaroos will lean back on their tails as a stabilizer and immediately start scratching and kicking the ever-loving out of one another. And those kicks have enough force to crack bone. And as if getting drop-kicked by a muscled marsupial wasn't bad enough, they also, for some reason, have the same bite force as a grizzly bear. Because why not?
Why?
Now, even with all of this, there are still animals stupid enough to view a Rua's lunch. Which brings me to the most terrifying thing that they do. When threatened, kangaroos will hop into a body of water and wait for whatever is chasing them to follow them in. Once the predator enters the water, the kangaroo will wrap its arms around their neck and just straight up drown them.
Holy shit.
What the man? I share a country with psychopathic tren rats. Crocodiles are just dinosaurs that forgot to go extinct.
Pretty much, yeah.
I am dead serious.
And alligators.
I cannot think of a croc species.
Crocodiles are more dangerous, in my opinion,
than the saltwater crocodile. A species
they hunt
land down
humans.
And shocking absolutely no one. Yes, it can and will eat you. You see, keeping on theme with the whole forgetting to go extinct thing, the salty stat spread just feels like something that should have been patched out with the rest of Jurassic Park. Starting with their ridiculous size. You see, salties are the largest reptile on the planet, coming in at a total of 6 meters long with a maximum weight of 1,100 kilos. Which makes this murder lizard genuinely longer than my car. And the f***ed up part is that despite being longer than my ute, they are for some reason absolute masters of stealth. You see, crocs are ambush predators, which is a scientific way of saying they are dirty campers. You see, they've got 2 raised eyes that sit on the top of their heads, which means they can submerge their Ford Falcon-sized frame basically entirely under the water without sacrificing the ability to spot whatever they are looking to turn into a Happy Meal. And from your perspective as the Happy Meal, they are really difficult to see, which makes it very easy to walk just a little too close and, get bitten in half by that hydraulic press they call a mouth. That's why I love Nestle Crunch. That's right, just like any good camper, these scaly arseholes are packing a one-shot in the form of one of the highest bite forces of any animal on the planet, having been recorded at putting out a maximum of 3,700 psi of force through their jaws. To put that into context, your skull will crack at 1,100 psi, so a croc would...
Yeah, but they also can't, open them very well, which means you could wrestle one. Technically, if you can get your hands around its jaw, it won't be able to open it. It can't open it. Or is that an alligator? I don't know.
Would pop your head like a watermelon. And if you don't immediately get folded by the first bite, those jaws will latch onto you as the croc begins a death roll.
Death roll,
spinning
baby.
Its ton of body weight like a washing machine until whatever part of you it has decided to eat snaps off and is added to its protein goals. But the best thing about the crocodile is their build is so f***ing good. They have genuinely been around with very little evolutionary change for 65 million years.
Holy shit.
I grew up watching Steve Irwin wrestle dinosaurs for fun. Rest in peace, you absolute f***ing legend.
Yeah, rip.
Australia just found a new record-breaking insect.
Look how big it is!
Before I show him to
Look at it!
How the f*** do we keep finding new bugs?
Yeah, for real.
See, Australia is...
Listen, y'all gotta stop looking for shit like brand new stuff. Just be ignorant, you know? It's better to be ignorant if you live here, I feel like.
Home to an estimated 200,000 species of insect, which is pretty damn impressive, especially when you consider the only place you're going to find more bugs than that is by counting the fucking roach population in Asmongold's walls.
Oh!
Now, the scary part of this is that out of that 200k, we've only actually identified 62,000. Meaning that we have no idea what nearly 3/4 of the bugs in the country actually fucking do.
Yeah, but like, okay, how do they know how many bugs they haven't discovered? That doesn't make sense. That's like saying like, I know how many jelly beans are in the jar just because I can look at it without measuring it. Like, no, you just can't do that.
You like jazz?
And so it should come as no surprise that while exploring Australia's dense rainforests, 2 scientists discovered a new record
bro,
holder
it's a fucking,
for the largest
look how big it
insect
is
in the land down under, and it's a fucking stick bug. Introducing Acrophila alta.
Holy
coming in
shit.
at a full 40 centimeters and 44 grams in weight.
Bro, that thing's a
I don't
log.
think that qualifies as a stick insect anymore. That's fucking Groot! Australia's very own Erd tree avatar was discovered in Queensland. Because of course it fucking was. And
Caleb,
despite being enough inches in length to make any man jealous, it's actually completely harmless. However, given how many oversized bugs we already have, if we find any more, I think they're gonna send the fucking Helldivers.
Yeah, they should.
This
they
bear was
should.
actually a soldier.
What?
But how? You see,
Wait,
it was 1942, and the 22nd Polish Artillery Company were passing through the mountains of Iran on their way to the front lines to fight the Nazis. While passing through a town on their way, they were stopped by a young Iranian shepherd looking to trade with them for rations and a Swiss Army knife. When the Poles asked what he had to offer in return, the young shepherd produced a burlap sack containing an orphaned Syrian brown bear cub.
Wait, what?
You see, this bear's mother was shot by hunters, which is how he ended up in a low-tech Pokeball being offered as a trade deal. The Polish looked at the bear
I want
and
it.
clearly seeing the
Give it
potential
me.
for insane dad law, said,
Damn good deal.
and in the most
Damn good
worthwhile
deal.
trade deal in history, parted ways with their supplies in exchange for a
Give me that
Pokemon,
bear.
adopting him into their ranks and naming him Voytek. And
Voytek?
the 22nd
What a
immediately
name.
set about raising this little man as a proper bear and soldier.
Hey,
As a baby, they would
Let's
feed
go.
him condensed milk out of an empty vodka bottle, as well as
Okay.
feeding him on the cartoon bear diet consisting of fruit, honey, and marmalade. They also appointed
obvious.
a soldier as his caretaker, who wasted no time in showing Voytek how to fit in with the rest of the army, teaching Yogi's little cousin to wave, salute, and
Oh my
even
God.
march. While not undergoing rigorous military training, Voytek would hang out with the soldiers. He drank coffee with them in the morning, trained with them in the day, and when they all got shit-faced in the evening,
Would he also
would
get-
wrestle with them.
bro?
Do you know how much a brown bear has to love you to wrestle you?
And not hurt you?
On top of double rations, they would also feed Voytek treats in the form of beer and cigarettes. They let the bear,
They let the bear
have smoko.
smoke.
Eventually, Army High Command heard about this and were having absolutely none of it. You see, pets were not allowed in the army, which meant
Oh, well,
Voytek
he's a soldier.
had to go. Or did he? Because the 22nd Artillery
soldier,
Company
not a pet.
officially enlisted him.
I'm doing my part.
He's doing his part.
I'm doing my part.
Voytek was given a serial number and granted the rank of private. So when confronted about the very conspicuous bear in their ranks, they simply went, "That's not a bear, that's Private Voytek." Voytek took his new role very seriously, as
Obviously.
during the Battle of Monte Cassino in 1944, Voytek began using his bulk to transport artillery shells
Holy
and ammo
shit.
to soldiers engaged in combat.
That's awesome.
They had a fucking resupply bear. For his bravery,
That's
he was
so
promoted
cool.
to the rank of corporal, and the 22nd
Hey.
changed their insignia to a bear carrying an artillery shell.
Fuck
This
yeah.
absolute unit smoked, drank, and dropped artillery on the Nazis.
What a
Based.
fucking guy.
Australia has just found zombified bugs. That's right, we're
What?
closer to the Walking Dead Down Under than you think. You see, just recently, a scientist by the name of Dr. Francois Broussard made a trek out to the remote
Looks like
savannah
Australian
of the
Sea
Northern
Dog
Territory
BA.
with the goal of finding and cataloguing brand new species of insect unknown to science. I mean, me
another
personally,
fucking
I
spider
think we
guy.
found more than enough bugs, especially considering that half of them can send me directly into the fucking soil. What do I know, right? Anyway, on his trip to the middle of fucking nowhere,
Gotta
he
stop
stumbled
looking
across
for
a
him.
colony of
Stop.
spiny savanna ants, which is a pretty normal thing to find out there.
All right.
However, getting closer, he noticed something a little off. You see, the main ant colony was fine, completely normal. However, the several disfigured and deformed ant corpses clamped onto shoots of grass surrounding the colony like a Bug's Life version of Vlad the Inhaler. Yeah, those were significantly less normal. Prasad, mildly unsettled by the ant gore on his timeline, took shambles for inspection and upon getting a closer look, realized something both really cool and really spooky. The ants had been overtaken by fungus.
Big old red ones.
More accurately,
Like
a previously unknown strain of the cordyceps fungus,
Yep.
infamous around the globe for its ability to create zombie bugs. And the way it does it is unbelievably horrific. You see, it begins with a spore landing on an ant and producing a thin, rope-like strand that penetrates and attaches
So
to
it goes into the brain.
At which point, the ant gets a little timer on his hotbar, counting down to a family reunion with his ancestors. Once inside, the fungus begins to take control of the ant's body and brain function, completely changing their behavior, replacing their colony-focused mindset with one single goal: climb. Its fungus-riddled mind drags its rapidly deteriorating body to the closest high point, which is usually a plant, with its final act being to clamp its mandibles onto the stem in a death grip, finally succumbing to the infection and being completely consumed, its corpse blossoming into a fully grown cordyceps fungus and raining down spores onto the rest of the colony to continue the cycle of infection. Now look, I know this fungus is found elsewhere in the world, but it's a new strain and it was found in Australia. With my luck, I'm going to be playing The Last of Us against couch-sized spiders within the fucking week.
Oh my god.
Stepping on this rock could straight up paralyze you.
Oh, it's the
That's because
stonefish,
this isn't actually a rock. That is a stonefish, a species of underwater menace native to Australia.
Has like a
and
switchblade
coming
in
as a
its
surprise
fucking,
to absolutely no one, it is also the most
head.
venomous fish in the ocean. Because of course it is. As if the fucking snakes and spiders weren't enough, now I can get packed up by a pet rock. But why is this Pokemon reject such a threat to my mental health? Well, you see, stonefish use their special venom for defense. However, unlike most other animals that do this little doesn't have the decency to dress like a neon sign to warn you.
No, he looks like a rock.
No.
Fucking camouflages.
This bastard is a 6th prestige prop hunt veteran, having evolved some of the most impressive camouflage in the animal kingdom to make hunting easier. And once they've set themselves up, they are basically indistinguishable from Patrick Starr's house. Now, this is a fairly major problem as they love to live in the shallows on the beach, and that venom we talked about earlier is stored in these 13 giant, highly toxic spines that deliver venom when pressed on. You can probably see where I'm going with this.
That's a lot.
Considering it's hard enough to spot these things while you're paying attention, if you were, say, on a romantic walk along the beach with one of the homies, and while distracted by his ethereal beauty, weren't paying too much attention to where you were walking, it would be very easy to place your foot in the wrong spot and step directly onto 13 hypodermic needles, which would then deliver a ginormous dose of neurotoxin straight into your system. Oh, you thought it was normal venom? No. You see, these things
paralyze your
out the toxin skill tree, producing a mixture of 2 neurotoxins that can flatline you by collapsing your heart and lungs in under an hour. And even if you survive, the sting still causes extreme pain, swelling, and tissue necrosis. Because this is Australia, where even the scenery is trying to one-shot me. If you see this thing T-pose, run!
But it's so cute. What's wrong with the thing? It's just a little guy T-posing. He's just T-posing. There ain't nothing wrong with him. He's not gonna like cut your arms off or anything with his massive fucking claws.
Introducing the anteater, a goofy little creature native to Brazil, and to understand why the absolute stance on this bad boy is a threat to your health, you're gonna have to understand a little about his lifestyle first. Now listen, I know this may come as a shock to you, but the anteater eats ants.
Yeah,
and weighing in at 40 kilos and 1.8 meters in length, he needs to consume upwards of 40,000 ants per day. Now, in order to help him with his bulky goals, the anteater has a mystery mouse tool stored inside that Excel sniffer.
Do it for you.
A 60 centimeter long tongue. Designed to snake its way down an ant colony's tunnel network, smash into their living room, and abduct the entire cast of Bug's Life and convert them into a high-calorie meal.
Yep.
However, what that tongue do only goes so far, as an ant colony can extend up to 4 meters underground, and termites live in high-rises, which means our boy here is going to have to do a little excavation to get to the goods. But last I checked, an anteater can't go down to Bunnings and buy a shovel. So how does he dig? Oh, that's simple, with the combat knives he has for claws. Yeah, anteaters are permanently cosplaying Freddy Krueger with a set of 4-inch claws.
Look at those things,
proving
dude.
the effectiveness of a few inches, can crack through f***ing concrete.
Yeah.
Now, these work great for digging, but they are also more than capable of flatlining you. When threatened, the anteater will rear up into a defensive T-pose. This is your sign, if you are smart, to turn around and fuck all the way off. If, however, you were, say, some dumbass trophy hunter who really felt the need to try and stab an animal for no reason other than ego, the anteater will swipe at you with those claws, which are at the perfect height to nail you in a thigh, slip through your flesh like butter, and sever your femoral artery, causing you to bleed out in 2 minutes while the anteater watches you go meet your ancestors. Can you imagine having to explain to your ancestors
you got killed by
mammoths? You got your shit packed up by the most unserious creature on the planet hitting your
that'd be insane. Oh.
This bird can straight hit you with a Mortal Kombat fatality.
Bro, this thing is insane.
Introducing the Casawary, a species of ratite native to the land down under.
I hate the way that thing looks.
It's not venomous. Can still flatline you though, and I'm going to tell you how. You see, these neon chickens belong to the same family of birds as the emu, and as such, share their impressive size.
Aren't their legs like
coming
really,
in
really
solid
deadly?
79 kilos and growing up to 6 feet tall, meaning the short kings in my audience could, in theory, mount these things like a chocobo. But
hell yeah,
stick out from emus. Well, you see, the Casawary is basically a spec ops emu, being twice the weight, highly territorial, and most importantly, coming with a combat knife strapped to their foot. That's right, this is a Casawary claw. And it's the reason they can hit you with a fighting game finisher. You see, these claws are a full 5 inches long. And, you know, I mean, honestly, 5 inches, way too big for anything, and especially if it's something that's going inside me. And if you anger the tactical assault turkey, that is exactly what you're gonna get. Their go-to defense method is to kick you square in the gut with that kitchen knife and attempt to disembowel you. And I mean, even if the kick doesn't put your insides on the outsides, that kick is still going to send you flying, which can cause some fairly major problems. Problems like the incident that occurred in 2012, where I you not, a Casawary ran up behind a random tourist, hit the heavy attack button, and kicked the guy down a small cliff into the ocean.
Holy shit. Bro.
I mean, luckily he survived, but the fact that I live in a country where at any point I could be hit with a sneak attack by a kaiju turkey is terrifying.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Platypus are weird, but I'm not sure you quite understand just how fucking weird.
They sweat
everyone
milk.
Knows the basics. They lay eggs, they sweat milk, and they look like God hit randomized.
Yeah, and they're venomous.
Creator and just called it a day. But you see, mate, that's barely even scratching the surface of weird platypus
They're venomous.
First up, as is the qualifier for any Australian animal, did you know they're venomous?
Yeah.
No, I'm not fucking with you. You heard me correctly. Male platypus actually have venomous spurs on their
Steve Irwin was most of how I know about a lot of the animals in Australia. So thank you, Mr. Steve Irwin, for wrestling crocodiles and teaching me about the wildlife.
Hind legs. These spurs are multi-purpose, acting as defense from predators, as well as a tool for throwing hands with other male platypus during mating season. And while their venom is non-lethal, that doesn't mean that getting stung by them doesn't fucking suck. See, platypus venom can cause extreme pain and swelling, and to ensure you remember not to fuck with them again, these effects can last for several months and have no treatment or anti-venom. So if Perry stabs your shit, your only option is to cry about it.
Yeah,
you're just I shit you not, platypus share the same hunting method as sharks. You see, that big-ass bill isn't just for show, as it contains enough surveillance equipment to make the CIA blush. Possessing the smell, changes in pressure in the water, but most importantly, containing electroreceptors that track electrical signals from muscle contractions made by their prey. Meaning that when whatever they're chasing starts quaking in fear, they know about it. And last but not least,
fuck.
as if those things weren't already unbelievable, we recently discovered something new. Platypus are fucking biofluorescent. They glow.
I'm sorry,
If you
what?
hit these things with a black light, they go bright fucking green. And the best part of that is, we have no clue why they do it. I guess it just means Perry was a biblically accurate platypus, man. I'll give up, man. Who fucking designed this thing?
Why does it glow in the dark? Why does it glow in the dark?
Koalas are really dumb. In fact, Australia's fuzzy icon is probably the dumbest thing on the planet.
Bro, have you seen a wet koala? They look terrifying.
And that stupidity starts with their diet, because of all the things they could have chosen to eat,
They
chose
chose
to eat
eucalyptus.
nothing but straight up poison.
Yep.
You see, koalas feed exclusively on eucalyptus leaves, which, shocking no one, are highly toxic.
Yep.
Because they are full to the brim with eucalypt oil, which is so fucking poisonous that as little as 3.75 mil is enough to land you in the afterlife, with the Reaper asking you why the fuck you felt the need to eat a leaf.
Why?
Oh, it's also highly flammable and burns like napalm. Because Australia.
Obviously.
Now, despite nature putting up this giant do not eat sign, that did not stop the koala, because he can't fucking read. This suboptimal bulking diet not only gives the koala all in the way of nutrition, but also requires their body to rest to filter out the toxins so they don't fucking cark it.
Why do they
need
eat
to
it
spend
then?
upwards of 18 hours a day sleeping in order to just digest their fucking food. These dumbasses spend most of their life in a food coma. That is, however, if they even get to the
What a
food
life.
to begin with, because they are so mind-numbingly brain dead that they will not recognize a eucalyptus leaf as food unless it is on the branch. I could give this dumbass a lifetime supply of food, and if it wasn't on a stick, he would starve to death.
That's so
It should come
funny.
as no surprise to you at this point that the koala has such an esky temperature IQ that they literally have a smooth brain. The thoughts slide right off of this dumb c***. I love him.
Look at him, he's so cute.
Scientists just de-extincted a 12,000-year-old dog.
Wait, what?
Well, kinda. You see,
How?
a bioengineering company called Colossal has dedicated itself to doing what every single Jurassic Park film has told us is a bad idea. Bringing back extinct species. And recently, they
Just
made a
don't do
breakthrough.
that.
They have managed to bring back the 12,000-year-old direwolf. You know those big-ass puppies from Game of Thrones that the Starks had?
no.
Yeah, those were actually a real-ass animal, alive during the late Ice Age. And the best way I can
It's just a
describe
big
them to
donkey.
you is basically a wolf on steroids.
Yeah, buddy!
These
Yeah,
things were
buddy.
bigger, faster, and stronger, estimated to have the highest bite force out of any canine. And in a move that I'm sure has no implications, they have managed to bring these
that'll be
bad
fine.
boys back to life.
It's just a mount now.
These two little guys are now 6 months old and have been living on a private plot of land with 24/7 veterinary
That's
care. However, they've
crazy.
only just been shown off to the public, with the company going so far as to get a photo op with George R.R. Martin holding one of these adorable little killing machines, showing that man will literally interact with an extinct species before he finishes that last f***ing book.
He ain't ever releasing that fucking thing, dude. Song of Ice and who? Who that? What do you mean?
There is, however, one small problem. This isn't technically a direwolf. You see, by merit of them being extinct, short of specking into necromancy, you can't exactly bring them back.
Oh, okay.
Which is where this guy comes in. You see, the grey wolf shares
regular wolf.
99.5% of its genetic code with the dire wolf.
Right.
So, using CRISPR gene editing, they basically toss the grey wolf back into the spore creator, then using the code found in dire wolf fossils as a build guide, juiced the f*** out of it, boosting the size slider and putting some extra points into strength, as well as adjusting its head shape and teeth. All in all, they made a total of 20 edits to 14 genes, producing the closest thing we can get to a dire wolf short of time travel. Which is cool as f***. I give it 5 years before a man-made horror beyond comprehension breaks out of that fucking lab and we are all playing Resident Evil.
Yeah. How many years, chat? How many years until we get like a fucking man-made monstrosity? Like, I give it 5. 2030. Just because 2020 had like the last pandemic, I'm sure 2030 will have something insane.
Most snails aren't scary, except for this one. This one's Australian.
Yeah.
Introducing the cone snail, an aquatic mollusk native to the land down under. And as seems to be the requirement when sharing your postcode with a kangaroo,
You gotta be
guessed
venomous.
it can quite easily cause your next snap to be in a coffin. And the way it can achieve it is this bad boy right here. You
That's
see,
a little
despite
stinger.
most snails having a reputation for being slow goobers that get folded by
That thing's fast as fuck, boy.
the cone snail is a highly effective ambush predator, and you may be wondering, how the fuck does a creature that moves slower than the GTA 6 development cycle hunt anything? Well, that's simple. It has a grappling hook. That's right, Gary's murderous little cousin here is a roadhog, mate.
Hi there. Hi there.
And he hunts by slowly but surely stalking up on his prey until he's just within range, and then bang!
Bang!
The cone snail does a quarter circle input, spitting out a tooth harpoon at 90 kilometers a hour. This harpoon then
Christ.
nails its prey, allowing them to reel it in like he's playing Scorpion.
Get over
And
here.
in case that wasn't bad enough, as seems to be a requirement for spawning on Australian servers, it's venomous.
Yep.
That harpoon also injects its prey
Neurotoxin.
with a highly potent neurotoxin
Yeah.
that instantly paralyzes it. This means it cannot put up a fight as it is
God.
sucked into the snail's ginormous maw like a nightmarish version of Kirby. And, just in case you thought for once you might be safe, cone snail venom is potent enough to kill 700 people with one sting. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, and there's no anti-venom, because it's not enough that it can kill me. No, I have to die knowing there is zero counterplay. Who balanced this
God. Gotta be like,
Australia lost a war to emus.
they sure fucking did.
But how? How the
They ran out of
did we
ammo,
lose
if I
an
remember right.
armed conflict
I'm
with
not sure, though.
flightless
Let's see what
birds?
Parz says.
Well, it all started in 1932 when farmers in Western Australia wanted to grow wheat. There was just one major problem. That's emu territory, and emus really like wheat. And coming in at 6 foot tall and 40 kilos in weight, they can eat a lot of it. So when breeding season came around, the emus migrated through the farmland, and these poor farmers were overwhelmed by a
By the
tyrannid
emus.
swarm of man-sized poultry, 20,000 emus strong. These
God
feathered tanks
damn.
then proceeded to completely steamroll through the fences, into the fields, and started laying waste to the wheat. The farmers attempted to fight back the initial wave with rifle fire, but their efforts were, putting it lightly, completely useless. This ginormous L made the farmers pretty bloody angry, so they gathered together and went to the government to ask for help.
Help!
20,000 emus
Help.
have hit the wheat fields. Fuck me, mate.
That's
And
a lot
the
of
government
emus.
declared the emus enemies of the state and sent in the army to commence the Great Emu War. The
That's so-
entire 7th Heavy Artillery Division was deployed to WA, armed with 2 LMGs, 10,000 rounds, and the sole objective
What?
to blast anything with feathers.
They used
A
LMG.
bit excessive for an overgrown turkey, if you ask me.
Yeah, a little
and upon
bit.
their first deployment, the army immediately ran into a major problem. Emus are fast.
I am speed.
Meow, meow.
Really fast, clocking a top speed of 50 kilometers an hour. Which
God
meant
damn.
that once they opened fire, the emus would immediately bolt out of range of their
Well,
weapons.
yeah.
But they still took a crack at it, and then immediately stopped when both LMGs jammed after only dropping 12 emus.
Bro.
This embarrassment led the army to retreat and rethink their plan. So a few weeks later they returned, this time mounting the LMGs on trucks in an
Okay,
attempt to
okay,
run the birds
better.
down. However, this also didn't work, because after figuring out that those trucks meant they were about to be turned into a KFC family bucket, the emus
They
started
ran away.
leaving scout birds who would
Wait,
warn
what?
the flock of the
Oi,
approaching
mate.
trucks,
Ate the
which
coke.
gave them all enough time to book it before the army even got there. And whenever they did
Bruh.
catch the emus, they found out they were kind of... Because emus are mostly feathers, and there's a lot of places you can hit on them without doing any damage.
Really?
Meaning it was taking around 10 bullets for every one bird.
Oh
so
my
after a month
God.
of blood, sweat, tears, and 10,000 rounds of ammunition, the army managed to bring down 960. The
That is-
population was
yikes.
20,000. This was an issue as, unlike America, our defense budget is not a bottomless pit.
Yeah.
So the army had wasted all that money to achieve absolutely fuck all. So the government just kind of built a really long, really shit fence around the farms and called it a day.
Okay.
How the did we lose this? I could have done a better job with a boomerang and a cricket bat.
Oh man, why not just like, I don't know, offer like a bounty, like you kill them and like then you could repurpose them as food or something? Like, let the population handle it, not the army.
This shrimp can cause explosions.
My main goal is to blow up.
Introducing the mantis shrimp, native to the West Indo-Pacific Ocean and possibly the coolest crustacean under the sea, because this fluorescent armored sausage is actually a voracious, bloodthirsty predator.
He's a
rocking
boxer,
enough
baby.
surveillance equipment to scare the CIA with a weapon powerful enough to surpass Metal Gear. See, the mantis shrimp is a highly effective predator, and they find and track their prey with easily the most advanced set of eyes on the
Look at those
planet.
eyes.
First off, each of these eye stalks can rotate independently like a periscope, giving them a
That's
full
insane, by the way.
360 degrees of vision.
And they got like 36
However,
cones of
more
color or something like that.
They can see colors we
can't see. Yeah.
You see, the mantis shrimp's eyes contain a full 15 photoreceptor cones
Oh, my
compared
bad.
to our 3.
16.
Which is a fancy way
No
of saying
cones.
they can see in 16K HDR with ray tracing enabled at 500 render distance.
Oh my piece.
And not only is the visual clarity unmatched, they can also see into the infrared and ultraviolet light spectrums.
Of
and
course.
despite all of this, they still can't find who asked.
Bruh.
What they can, however, find is their next meal. The mantis shrimp subsists on a diet of fish, worms, squidward, and, most importantly,
Crabs.
Mr. Krabs.
Yeah.
Now, crabs famously exist inside of a defensive shell. So, how does this polite little gentleman break into the
They
shell?
fucking-
Simple.
Bam.
He throws hands. That's right, weighing in at only 90 grams and 38 centimeters in length, the mantis shrimp has a punch
Break
that
the
produces
sound barrier.
15,000 newtons of force. That is 176 newtons per gram. So if a human was capable of that same kind of force, a right hook from someone who weighs 80 kilo would be like getting hit in the face with 6 sticks of dynamite.
God damn.
Now, to produce that force, its claw needs to be moving at 83 kilometers an hour.
Make sparks
which is
underground.
So
Underwater,
fast,
not underground.
It creates a vacuum in the water
Yep.
called a cavitation bubble, which then immediately collapses at such a speed, it creates a miniature explosion that
Yep.
flashbangs the target and reaches a temperature hotter than the surface of the sun. Mr.
Yep.
Krabs is getting f***ing disintegrated.
Money.
Money. Oh.
Dolphins get drunk.
Yep, they sure do.
But why? Well, you see,
Well,
the dolphin is
'cause they're
by
bored.
far and away the smartest animal in the ocean. In fact, they're actually the second smartest thing on the planet, just behind you and me. This means they are smart enough to understand that the ideal way to spend your night is more plastered than Chad and Max on your average Cold Ones episode. There is just one problem. Last I checked, there's no bottle O in Bikini Bottom. So how does a dolphin get fired for all?
Neurotoxin.
Simple. They abuse pufferfish. You see, due to the lack of underwater alcohol, dolphins need to find other ways to get their fix, which is where SpongeBob's driving instructor comes in. You see, pufferfish contain this really cool and totally not dangerous substance called tetrodotoxin. What is tetrodotoxin? You know, it's only one of the most potent natural neurotoxins on the fucking planet.
And for some odd reason, humans were like, I want to eat that fish. And then anytime you have to like, you would ever want to eat this fucking fish, you're like, oh, you gotta sign this waiver telling us to, if you do get poisoned, your family can't sue us. And like, what the fuck?
This shit will freeze your heart and lungs in under an hour with a tiny dose. And it's the reason why cooking a pufferfish requires a dexterity check, so you don't, hit the poison gland and get yourself deleted.
Oh.
Now, puffers carry this as a defense mechanism as poison accumulates in their organs and skin.
Right.
Why is that important? Well, you see, I kind of lied. Dolphins don't get drunk. They get high on neurotoxin.
¿Quieres?
Pods of
Yes.
dolphins will bully pufferfish until they inflate, then partake in a literal puff-puff pass. By lightly squeezing the puffer in their mouth, they receive a small dose of neurotoxin, which has a narcotic effect, allowing Flipper here to trip balls before passing the unhappy basketball onto the next submarine stoner. Flipper and friends saw the deadliest neurotoxin
They're like, let's
on
pass
the
it around, guys.
and said, "Fuck it, let me try some of that."
Yep. Just let me take a little bite of it. Oh.
I wanna believe in a heaven and a place where we don't have to feel this pain. If there is, then why do we hurt so much, and why do I want